She is not going to tell you outright. She will not announce that she has been neglected, that her needs are not being met, or that she is looking at you and wondering what it would be like. That is not how women communicate these things in real life. Instead, her body will tell you. Her behavior will tell you. The subtle shifts in how she interacts with you will tell you everything if you know what to look for and if you are paying close attention. This is not about women who are casually attracted or mildly interested. This is about women carrying unmet desire like a weight, women who feel it constantly and quietly, hoping the right man will recognize it and do something about it. By the end of this, you will know how to spot the signs that she is sexually frustrated and silently hoping you will be the one to change that. Certain signs are harder to hide than others, especially the ones tied to the body and to moments of separation, and those are often the most revealing. Let us get into it and break it down clearly and thoroughly. 1. She responds to you with unusual intensity. You might be having a completely normal conversation at a work event, a social gathering, or a casual get-together with friends. You make a standard comment that is polite, ordinary, or situational. Nothing especially clever or impressive, yet her reaction feels bigger than the moment calls for. She laughs a little too hard, smiles a little too long, leans in a little too close, or holds eye contact just a bit longer than is socially necessary. This is overflow. When a woman is carrying pent-up desire, that energy has to go somewhere, and it often leaks into her interactions, especially with men she finds attractive or emotionally engaging. A woman who feels fulfilled tends to engage in a calm, balanced, and proportionate way. A woman who is frustrated responds with disproportionate intensity. She is not overreacting because you are exceptionally funny or fascinating in that moment. She is overreacting because she is already running hot internally and you happen to be in her line of sight. If her reactions feel charged beyond what the situation warrants, she is not just interested, she is hungry for connection, stimulation, and release. When you notice this intensity, it is important to also observe how she manages physical distance. 2. She finds reasons to be in your space. You might be at a dinner party where she chooses to sit next to you even though there are plenty of other available seats. You could be at a company mixer where she keeps drifting back toward your corner of the room despite conversations elsewhere. You may be walking through a parking lot or hallway together and her arm brushes against yours repeatedly without any clear reason. A woman who is sexually satisfied usually maintains a comfortable and neutral physical distance. She does not need proximity because she is not seeking anything from you on a deeper level. A woman who is frustrated, however, gravitates toward men she is attracted to almost involuntarily. She craves closeness, presence, and physical awareness. Sometimes she is not even consciously aware she is doing it. She simply knows that being near you feels good and grounding, and her body keeps guiding her back. If she repeatedly ends up in your personal space when there is no practical or situational reason for it, her body is communicating what her words cannot. When she is close, the next thing to notice is how she uses touch. 3. Her touches carry weight. There is a clear difference between a casual, socially polite touch and a loaded one, and a sexually frustrated woman tends to give you the second kind. When she touches your arm, her hand presses in rather than just grazing. When she playfully pushes your shoulder or nudges you, her fingers linger for a moment after the contact. When she hands you an object, the exchange slows down and becomes a moment, with her fingers brushing yours deliberately instead of pulling away quickly. Touch becomes the outlet for pent-up physical desire. She cannot act directly on what she is feeling, so it escapes through these small, controlled contacts. Each touch acts like a tiny release valve. The key question to ask yourself is whether her touch feels purposeful and intentional. Does it feel like she is savoring the contact rather than simply making it? If every touch carries a little extra weight or intention, she is communicating something without saying it. If you notice this, pay attention next to what happens to her breathing, for her breathing changes when you are close. You step in to say something privately, or you are standing close enough that you can sense her warmth and presence. At that point, you notice her breathing has shifted. It becomes slightly deeper, slightly faster, and more noticeable in her chest and shoulders. This is a physiological response that is extremely difficult to fake or consciously control. When a woman is sexually frustrated and finds herself close to a man she is attracted to, her body reacts before her mind has time to filter or suppress it. Arousal activates the autonomic nervous system, and breathing changes are part of that response. This is the same mechanism that operates during intimate moments. Except here, it is happening in a public or semi-public setting where she is trying to remain composed. If her breath changes when you are near, she is not just enjoying the conversation. Her body is reacting to you on a deeper level, often beyond her conscious awareness. When the body is responding, it is important to listen closely to what she chooses to talk about. 5. She steers conversations toward intimacy. You may start with a neutral topic like weekend plans, work stress, or a recent trip. Yet somehow she keeps nudging the conversation into more personal territory. She asks whether you went alone. She wonders if you are seeing anyone. She makes a joking comment about how long it has been since her last vacation or last proper date, and her tone or expression suggests more than the words alone. This is topic escalation. A woman who is sexually frustrated, often unconsciously, steers conversations toward intimacy, relationships, and emotional connection because that is what is occupying her thoughts. She is not gathering data for curiosity alone. She is testing the waters, gauging your openness, and dropping subtle breadcrumbs that lead toward the subject she actually wants to explore or experience. If she keeps guiding the conversation into more personal, emotionally loaded, or suggestive areas, she is hoping you will meet her there. When this happens, pay close attention to how she speaks about her current situation. 6. She drops hints about what is missing. During a quiet conversation, over coffee or drinks, she might mention her partner's long work hours, sigh about how her boyfriend is always tired, or comment that her relationship feels more like a roommate arrangement than a romantic one. These statements are not random. She is not simply venting without intention. She is naming the void in her life. Women who are fulfilled do not focus on or verbalize what is missing. Women who are frustrated often do, sometimes subtly and sometimes almost confessionally, because they want someone to understand. The key detail is that she is telling you this for a reason. She is not seeking pity. She is seeing whether you can read between the lines, whether you grasp what she is really saying, and whether you might be capable of filling that gap. When she opens up about neglect or dissatisfaction, she is opening a door. How she reacts to your attention after that tells you everything. 7. She lights up when you focus on her. You ask her a sincere question about herself that goes beyond small talk. You give her a specific and thoughtful compliment, or you simply offer her your full, undivided attention for a few uninterrupted minutes. Suddenly, her energy shifts. Her posture straightens. Her eyes brighten. She becomes more animated, expressive, and present. It can feel like you flipped a switch. This is what attention deprivation looks like when it finally receives nourishment. A woman who has been neglected, emotionally, physically, or both, responds to genuine attention like water in a desert. If your focus creates a visible change in her demeanor, she is not just enjoying the moment. She is absorbing something she has been missing, and she will associate that feeling with you. This makes what happens next especially telling. 8. She chases your attention when it drifts. You turn away to talk to someone else, glance at your phone, or become momentarily distracted by the environment. Almost immediately, she pulls you back. She says your name, touches your arm, asks a question, or makes a comment that requires your focus to return to her. She does not let the connection fade easily. This is not general neediness. This is pursuit behavior driven by unmet desire. A woman who feels satisfied does not feel anxious when attention shifts. A woman who is frustrated works to recapture it because losing it feels like losing access to something rare and necessary. If she is actively reclaiming your focus, she is revealing how much she needs what you are giving. The final clue often appears at the end of the interaction. 9. She lingers at the goodbye. The event is ending, the conversation has reached a natural stopping point, and people are beginning to leave. Yet she remains. She finds one more thing to say, asks what you are doing next, or stands there with her keys in her hand without moving toward the exit. Every practical signal says it is time to go, but she hesitates. This reluctance to disconnect is a powerful indicator. When a sexually frustrated woman has just experienced genuine connection and stimulation, she does not want the feeling to end. Even if she ultimately leaves, the hesitation is the tell. She is not